This book was written by a Roman emperor, Marcus Aurelius, Meditations. So they found his journal, his notebook, and they decided big money, big money. And so they made it into a book. Obviously, he wouldn't have approved, but he ain't alive. So yeah, people just made it into a book. We get his knowledge. It's a win-win for everyone, aside from him. But he passed away, so not much he can do. Is this grave robbing? I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to read this book and I'll tell you what's up. I'm going to skip past the tutorial because it looks long and boring. Meditations. Book 1. Debts and Lessons. My grandfather, Virus, character and self-control. You probably learned that from his grandfather, I'm guessing. My father, from my own memories and his reputation, integrity and manliness. These are good traits to have. Marcus Aurelius probably took that. My mother, her reverence for the divine, her generosity, her inability not only to do wrong, but even to conceive of doing it, and the simple way she lived, not in the least like the rich. So his mother was a rich lady who was poor. My great-grandfather, to avoid public schools and to hire good private teachers and to accept the resulting costs as money well spent. So private teachers, they give him the big, they just give it to him. While public teachers, they're trying to give it to everybody, so they can't just give it to him straight up. So that's what I understand from that. My first teacher, not to support this side or that in chariot racing, this fighter or that in the games. To put up with discomfort and not to make demands. To do my own work, mind my own business, and to have no time for slanders. Stay focused. Stop being a bitch. Diogenes, not to waste time on nonsense, not to be taken in by conjurers or hoodoo artists with their talk about incantations and exorcisms and all of the rest of it. Not to be obsessed with quill fighting or other crazes like that. To hear unwelcome truths. To practice philosophy and to study Bacchius, and then with Tadicis and Marketicinis. To write dialogues as a student. To choose the Greek lifestyle, the camp, bed, and the cloak. So listen to the truths, even if you don't like it. Stop choosing fighters? I don't understand that one. Maybe I'm spastic or something because I don't seem to understand most of this. I'm learning. I'm reading. But is this real understanding? I'm just reading. Anyway, rusticus. The recognition that I need to train and discipline my character, not to be sidetracked by my interest in rhetoric, not to write treatises on abstract questions or deliver moralizing little sermons, or compose imaginary descriptions of the simple life or the man who lives only for others, to steer clear of oratory, poetry, and belles letters, not to dress up just to stroll around the house, or things like that, to write straightforward letters like the ones he sent my mother from Sinusa, and to behave in a conciliatory way when people have angered or annoyed us, want to make up. To read attentively, not to be satisfied with just getting the gist of it, and not to fall for every smooth talker, and for introducing me for Epictetus's lectures and loaning me his own coffee. So basically, he's telling me stop doing the thing that I was doing by just getting the gist of it. That's what I'm doing. Am I gonna stop? I don't think I am, because I guess you need to practice that more. And yeah, I'm spasticking. I just want to read the book. Is that good or bad? I don't know. I do need to start with getting the gist of it, right? Right? So I'm just gonna get the gist of it, then expand my gists to get extensive gists. This is what I get from this. Not to dress up and to just stroll around the house. Do stuff with purpose. Don't be no bitch about it. Why? What's the point in dressing up in the house? Where you going? You ain't going nowhere. You ain't going nowhere. You just there to get fisted. Unless someone's coming over, understandable. Apollinariness, independence and unvarying reliability, and to pay attention to nothing, no matter how fleeting, except the logos, and to be the same in all circumstances, intense pain, the loss of a child, chronic illness, and to see clearly from his example that a man can show both strength and flexibility, his patience in teaching, and to have seen someone who clearly viewed his expertise and ability as a teacher to be the humblest of virtues, and to have learned how to accept favors from friends without losing your self-respect or appearing ungrateful. That's some knowledge right there. Don't be no bitch when friends ask to give you help, because they don't, well, if they're good friends, they probably don't want nothing in return. That's what I'm getting from this. I don't understand where he's telling us pay attention to nothing, no matter how fleeting, except logos. What does he mean, logos? Nike? Just do it? Adidas? I forgot that catchphrase, but I don't understand. KFC, his finger looking good. Is that what he wants me to focus on? I don't know. To be patient. Don't go spastic on someone if they ain't understanding. I kind of understand that, because I used to go spastic. Well, not spastic. I wouldn't be like, I would just be like, when I was trying to explain something and they wouldn't understand. I guess that's normal for everybody. To be better, yeah, you probably need to have patience. Yeah, patience. I have actually gained that. You can gain it too. Let's gangbang. Cool. Sextus. Kindness, an example of fatherly authority in the home. What it means to live as nature requires. Gravity without airs. To show intuitive sympathy for friends, tolerance to amateurs and sloppy thinkers. His ability to get along with everyone. Sharing his company with the highest of compliments. And the opportunity, an honor for those around him. To investigate and analyze with understanding and logic, and the principles we ought to live by, not to display anger or other emotions, to be free of passion and yet full of love, to praise without bombast, to display expertise without pretension. Be humble. Sympathize with people, I'm thinking. Don't lie when you're praising. Not to display anger or other emotions. What does he want me to be? I don't understand that, because if you ain't showing anger nor any emotion, you're basically a robot. Do I want to be a robot? No. If I want to be a robot, I would just, I don't know, what's his robotic job? Like some desk job where you're like... The literary critic Alexander. Not to be constantly correcting people. And in particular, not to jump on them whenever they make an error of usage or grammatical mistake or mispronounce something, but just answer their question or add another example or debate the issue itself, not their phrasing, or make some other contribution to the discussion and insert the right expression unobtrusively. Bro, stop criticizing on the smallest thing. That's some knowledge. Stop criticizing on the smallest bit. So, for example, someone says monkey instead of monkey. Obviously, they kind of retarded. But I ain't gonna tell them you kind of retarded, because I understand what they were trying to say. If you understand what they were trying to say, what's the problem? If you get pissed over the small things, I think you get kind of AIDS at everything. If you understand what I'm saying. Fronto! To recognize the malice, cunning, and hypocrisy that power produces, and the peculiar ruthlessness often shown by people from good families. Power corrupts, that's what I'm thinking. You either die the hero or live long enough to become the villain. Batman, Spider-Man, Superman. That's what they're saying. Yeah, that's true. When you got too much power, you're like, look at these peasants. They don't respect your authority, and you don't like it. You're like, why don't you respect me? Come touch me. Why don't you respect me? Listen to me. And they don't listen. So you go and violate them. You go and fist them. Just because someone's from a good family doesn't mean they're good. Alexander, the Platonist. Not to be constantly telling people or writing them that I am too busy, unless I really am. Similarly, not to always be ducking my responsibilities to people around me because of the pressing business. Stop ignoring people. Stop lying to them about, I'm busy, I can't do this, I'm busy, I'm busy. Are you really busy, or are you just on TikTok scrolling? That's what I'm saying. Because I've actually done the same. No, I haven't done the same. No, I remember. This is not on TikTok, but in the past, this is kind of retarded, but in the past, so my friends wanted me to play Fortnite, and I wanted to play Red Dead Redemption, so I told them I'm busy. That's a lie. I could have had good fun times just smashing them on Fortnite. Why didn't I? Catullus. Not to shrug off a friend's resentment, even unjustified resentment, but try to put things right, to show your teachers ungrudging respect, the Demetrius and Anthrodius story, and your children unfeigned love. Learn from their resentment, maybe. That's what he's saying. My brother, Severus, to love my family, truth and justice. It was through him that I encountered Thrasa, Helivididus, Cato, Dion, and Brutus, and conceived of a society of equal laws governed by equality of status and of speech, and of rulers who respect the liberty of their subjects above all else, and from him as well to be steady and constant in valuing philosophy, and to help others, and to be eager to share, not to be a pessimist, and never to doubt your friends' affection for you, and that when people incurred his disapproval, they always knew it, and that his friends never had to speculate about his attitude to anything. It was always clear. Don't say, I'm fine, when you're not really fine, or something. Maximus. Self-control and resistance to distraction. Optimism in adversity, especially illness. A personality in balance. Dignity and grace together. Doing your job without whining. Other people's certainty that what he said was what he thought. And what he did was done without malice. Never taken aback or oppressive. Neither rash nor hesitant, or bewildered, or at a loss. Not obsequious, but not aggressive or paranoid either. Generosity, charity, honesty. A sense he gave of staying on the path rather than being kept on it. And no one could ever have felt patronized by him, or in a position to patronize him. A sense of humor. Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Have a sense of humor. Maximus. He was a funny guy. Be self-controlled. Stick to your workout routine. Optimism. Be optimistic. Oh, I just got hit by a car. At least I'm alive. Optimistic. Do your job without whining. Stop complaining. He said what he thought. He was straight up. No lies. Dua Lipa. Sheen Paul. My adopted father. Compassion, unwavering adherence to decisions once he'd reached them, indifference to superficial honors. Hard work, persistence, listening to anyone who could contribute to the public good. His dogged determination to treat people as they deserved. A sense of when to push and when to back off. Putting a stop to the pursuit of boys. His altruism, not expecting his friends to keep him entertained at dinner or to travel with him unless they wanted to. And anyone who had stayed behind to take care of something always found him the same when he returned. His searching questions at meetings, a kind of single-mindedness, almost never content with his first impression, or breaking off the discussion prematurely. His constancy to friends, never getting fed up with them, or playing favorites. Self-resilience, always cheerful, and his advanced planning, well in advance, and his discreet attention to even minor things. His restrictions on acclamations and all attempts to flatter him. His constant devotion to the empire's need. His stewardship of the treasury. His willingness to take responsibility and blame for both. His attitude to the gods. No superstitiousness, and his attitude to men. No demagoguery. No cunning favors. No pandering always sober, always steady, and never vulgar or prey to fads. The way he handled the material comforts that fortune had supplied him in such abundance, without arrogance and without apology. If they were there, he took advantage of them. If not, he didn't miss them. No one ever called him glib or shameless or pedantic. They saw him for what he was, a man tested by life, accomplished, unswayed by flattery, qualified to govern both himself and them. His respect for people who practiced philosophy, at least those who were sincere about it, but without denigrating others or listening to them. His ability to feel at ease with people and put them at their ease without being pushy. His willingness to take adequate care of himself, not a hypochondriac or obsessed with his appearance, but not ignoring things either. With the result that he hardly ever needed medical attention or drugs or any sort of salve or ointment. This in particular, his willingness to yield the floor to experts, oratory, law, psychology, whatever, and support them energetically so that each of them could fulfill his potential, and that he respected tradition without needing constantly congratulate himself for safeguarding our traditional values. Not prone to go off on tangents or pulled in all directions, but sticking with the same old place and the same old things. The way he could have one of his migraines and then go right back to what he was doing, fresh and at the top of his game. That he had few secrets, only state secrets. In fact, and not all that many of those. The way he kept public actions within reasonable bound, games, building, projects, distribution of money, and so on, because he looked to what needed doing and not to the credit to be gained from doing it. Not bathing at strange hours, no self-indulgent building projects, no concern for food, no or the cut and colour of his clothes, or having attractive slaves, the robe from which his farm at Leitrim, most of the things at Lavium, the way he accepted the customers. He never expected rudeness, lost control of himself, or turned violent. No one ever saw him sweat. Everything was to be approached logically and with due consideration, in a calm and orderly fashion, but decisively and with no loose ends. You could have said to him, as they say of Socrates, that he knew how to enjoy and abstain from things that most people find it hard to abstain from, and all too easy to enjoy. Strength, perseverance, self-control in both areas. The mark of a soul in readiness, indomitable. His grandfather was a big man. He had big things going for him. He was no bitch. He treated his friend, no, he's not his grandfather, his adopted father. He was a hard guy. He was very cool. He was chill. He never got angry. He was calm. He treated his friends equally. Even when his friends didn't come with him on trips, he was like, cool, understood. He was understanding. He was cool with it. He was like, yeah, it is what it is. I'm so sick. You guys ain't shit. Anyways, no. I'm so sick and so are you. Treated everyone equally. Well, I think he died of a sickness, but that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm saying he was sick. If you understand what I'm saying. The gods. That I have good grandparents, a good mother and father, a good sister, good teachers, good servants, relatives, friends, almost without exception. And that I never lost control of myself with any of them. Although I had it in me to do that. And I might have easily. But thanks to the gods, I was never put in that position, and so escaped that test. That I wasn't raised by my grandfather's girlfriend for longer than I was. That I didn't lose my virginity too early. That I didn't enter adulthood until it was time. Put it off even. That I had someone as a ruler and as a father who could keep me from being arrogant and make me realize that even at court you can live without a troop of bodyguards and gorgeous clothes, lamps, sculptures, the whole charade. You can act like an ordinary person without seeming slovenly or careless as a ruler, or when carrying out official obligations. That I had the kind of brother I did, one whose character challenged me to improve my own, one whose love and affection enriched my life. That my children weren't born stupid or physically deformed. That I wasn't more talented in rhetoric or poetry or other areas. If I'd felt that I was making better progress, I might have never given them up. That I conferred on people who brought me the honors they seemed to want early on, instead of putting them off, since they were still young, with the hope that I'd do it later. That I knew Apollonius and Rusticus and Maximus. That I was shown clearly and often what it would be like to live as nature requires. The gods did all they could, through their gifts, their help, their inspiration, to ensure that I live as nature demands. And if I failed, it is no one's fault but mine, because I didn't pay attention to what they told me, practically step by step. That my body has held out, especially considering the life I've led. That I've never laid a finger on Benedicta or Theodoctus, and that even later, when I was overcome by passion, I recovered from it. Even though I was often upset with Rusticus, I never did anything I would have regretted later. That even though she died young, at least my mother spent her last years with me. That whenever I felt like helping someone who was short of money or otherwise in need, I never had to be told that I had no resources to do with. And that I was never put in a position myself to having to take something from someone else. That I have a wife, obedient, loving, humble. That my children had competent teachers, remedies granted through dreams. When I was coughing blood, for instance, and having fits of dizziness, and the one at Seattle. When I became interested in philosophy, I didn't fall into the hands of claritina charlatans, and didn't get bogged down in writing treatises or becoming absorbed in logic chopping or preoccupied with physics. Fuck physics. Everybody hates physics. If you like physics, damn! All things for which we need the help of fortune and the gods. I guess my physics teacher likes physics, but aside from that, I don't know who. Maybe Isaac Newton, maybe Stephen Hawking. They were like, ooh, I love physics. Yo, you know what? Even though Stephen Hawking was in a wheelchair, he was still smashing. Can you believe that? He was still smashing. He was going in. How was he spitting game? I don't understand. What was he doing? In this segment, he's saying, thank you for everything to the gods. Well, his god, Roman's gods, I think. Thank you. He didn't smash too early, because if he did, something would have happened or something. What would have happened? I don't know. He also said thank you for his family and stuff. Thank you for his children, wife. He said many things. Thank you for always having my back. Gang. Yeah. Let me show you what y'all missing. Paradise. You me, I'm tripping, girl. You don't even know the lies. Let me show you what you're here for. Hey, look in my eyes. Book 2. On the River Grand, among the Quadi. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be melding, ungrateful. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they can't tell good from evil. But I have seen the beauty of the good and the ugliness of evil, and have recognized what the wrongdoer has a nature related to my own, not of the same blood or birth, but the same mind, and possessing a share of the divine. And so none of them can hurt me. No one can implicate me in ugliness. What? Nor can I feel angry at my relative or hate him. We were born to work together like feet and hands and eyes, like the 2 rows of teeth, upper and lower. To abstract each other is unnatural. To feel anger to someone, to turn your back on him, these are obstructions. So he's basically telling everyone to collab. Why don't we collab? Let's make a collab. That's what he's trying to say. And it's unnatural not to collab. He ain't wrong, because humans are like ants. They need to collab to get to get bigger. Well, you can do it on your own, but if you have multiple hands to just to do something. All right, you're building a tower, you're building a building, anything. You're gonna do it by yourself? How long is that gonna take? You'll be old by the time you finish. But what if, actually, you could build it by yourself if you're being honest. You could spend a few years constructing a mechanical thing which builds towers. But you know what would be faster? Asking others for help. Don't be scared to ask people for help. Yeah, that is true, but what if they don't want to help? What if they're dickheads? Maybe they're not the right people to help you. Oh, okay, Tyrant. Okay, Tyrant, alright. 2. Whatever this is that I am, it is flesh, and I am a little spirit and an intelligence. Throw away your books. What? Why is he telling me to do that? Why did I listen, stupid? Throw away your books. Stop letting yourself be distracted. That is not allowed. Instead, as if you were dying right now, despise your flesh. Why? I like my flesh. Despise your flesh, a mess of blood, pieces of bone, woven tangent and nerves, veins, arteries. Consider what the spirit is, air and never the same air, but vomited out and gulped in again every instant. Finally, the intelligence. Think of it this way, you're an old man. Stop allowing your mind to be a slave, to be jerked about by selfish impulses, to kick against fate and present, and to mistrust the future. So I have to believe I'm an old man and not be a slave. 3. What is divine is full of providence. Even chance is not divorced from nature. From the inweaving and enfolding of things governed by providence, everything proceeds from it. And then there is necessity and the need of the whole world of which you are part. Whatever the nature of the world does, and whatever serves to maintain it, it is good for every part of nature. The world is maintained by change, in the elements and in things they compose. That should be enough for you. Treat it as an axiom. Discard your thirst for books, so that you won't die in bitterness, but in cheerfulness and truth. Grateful for the gods from the bottom of your heart. What is he saying? Don't get knowledge? I guess if you get too much knowledge, yeah, if you know too much, you're obviously gonna be like, shit, I can't do anything. I don't know anything. That's what some philosopher said. I'm sure. I don't know which one. But one philosopher said he became so smart that he became dumb. Ain't that crazy? So I'm thinking that's like a circular thing to being smart. So if you go to one side too much, so he became so smart, he became dumb. So it's like a circle. So you became stupid, a bit smart, dumb. It's like that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm stupid. I don't know anything. That's what the philosopher said. I'm just copying. I'm a copycat. I'm copying a philosopher. What? But I'm younger than the philosopher. That means I'm smarter than him. Or am I? Or am I being dumb? Who knows? 4. Remember how long you've been putting this off. How many extensions the gods gave you. You didn't use them. At some point you have to recognize what world it is that you belong to. What power rules it. And from what source you spring. That there is a limit to the time assigned you. And if you don't use it to free yourself, it will be gone and it will never return. So something I learned recently is everyone has their own world. So for example, if you focus fully on, let's say, law, the law world will become your world. For example, a lawyer studies so much studying, knows everything about law. That's his world. But for another person, maybe This guy's a sprinter, a boxer. Okay, let's go sprinter. Usain Bolt. Sprinting is his world. Athletics is his world. Everyone has their own world. For example, a person who works at a coffee shop. Maybe they're doing it part-time, but what if they're doing it full-time? The coffee shop is their world. And also, they're expert at coffees. So the coffee shop is their world. Everything about coffee is their world. Some new coffee gets invented. They're like, oh, coffee, yes. The second half is telling us, don't be a bitch wasting your time. Yeah, I've been doing this scrolling. Damn, I need to. Everyone, I don't know if everyone needs to, like. Sure, some people just need to scroll because. Okay, imagine this. You can't say everyone needs to stop scrolling because there is probably one person out there, I guarantee you, that has no arms, no legs. What are they going to do? Not scroll? They have nothing else to do. They are disabled. They cannot do nothing. So, some people can scroll, but me personally, I don't think that's the route for me. I need to do something. I need to take some action. I need to do something. I need to go on an adventure. I need to something. Something needs to be done with me. I guess I am doing something, but I need to do something more. Or do I? I definitely do. Shut up, Tyron. Or do I? Don't do that. Shut up, stupid. Concentrate every minute like a Roman, like a man, on doing what's in front of you with precise and genuine seriousness, tenderly, willingly, with justice, and on freeing yourself from all the other distractions. Yes, you can. If you do everything as if it were the last thing you were doing in your life, and stop being aimless, stop letting your emotions override what your mind tells you, stop being hypocritical, self-centered, irritable, you see how few things you have to do to live a satisfying and reverent life. If you can manage this, that's all even the gods can ask of you. That's a banging line. That's hard. So he's basically saying stay focused, do work full focused, and you'll be crazy happy. I'm thinking that's what he said. Fair play, that was a sick line. If someone gave me that speech, I would be like obviously, I'm hard right now, so I respect this guy. He's spitting some facts. Let's be real. You can agree with that. He's spitting some facts. So what he's basically saying, work hard, concentrate while working. Stop getting distracted so much, and you'll be happy. The more times you concentrate, the more times you'll be happy. Yes, keep on degrading yourself, but soon your chance at dignity will be gone. Everyone gets one life. Yours is almost used up. And instead of treating yourself with respect, you have entrusted your own happiness to the souls of others. Oh, this one's pretty easy to understand. Stop mindlessly following others and entrusting them with your life. Question it. Ask questions. Don't fully entrust your soul to a stupid man who just tells you, hey, jump off that cliff. 7. Do external things distract you. Then make time for yourself to learn something worthwhile. Stop letting yourself be pulled in all directions, but make sure you guard against the other kind of confusion. People who labor all their lives but have no purpose to direct every thought and impulse toward are wasting their time, even when they work hard. First half he said get some hobbies, then he's saying focus on one hobby and go hard on it. Don't get 50 hobbies and do every hobby and get nowhere in every hobby. Just get on one hobby and just go hard on it. Just go or 2 hobbies, whatever. But not more than 2 or 3. I ain't no expert, so I'm guessing 1. That's the main one. If you go hard on one thing, like focus fully, concentrate fully on one thing, boom, explosions, get to the top. Yeah. 8. Ignoring what goes on in other people's souls. No one ever came to grief that way. But if you won't keep track of what your own soul is doing, how can you not be unhappy? Yeah, this one's confusing. Is he saying ignore people or don't ignore people and you'll be happy? If you ignore people, you won't be happy? or if you ignore someone, you will be happy. And if you don't know what's going on your own soul, you won't be happy. Damn, this juxtaposition. Juxtaposition. Aye. SpongeBob. Patrick. Squidward. 9. Don't ever forget these things. The nature of the world, my nature, how I relate to the world, what proportion of it I make up. That you are a part of nature, and no one can prevent you from speaking and acting in a harmony with it always. You are the world. Da-na-da-da-na. Da-da-da-na. Da-da-da. Da-da-da-na. Michael Jackson. As I go into the window, like an window, like a window. So basically, he's saying you're part of the world. You're a small part of the world, but you're still part of the world. It's like a puzzle piece. You're a little puzzle. And without that puzzle, it would be incomplete. So, know you're part of the world and act in harmony with it. Yeah, go to the right puzzle piece. Fit in the right puzzle. Or maybe don't. Who knows? I didn't write this book. Who am I to tell you? 10. In comparing sins, the way people do. Theophrastus says that ones committed out of desire are worse than ones committed out of anger, which is good philosophy. The angry man seems to turn his back on reason out of the kind of pain and inner convulsion. But the man motivated by desire, who is mastered by pleasure, seems somehow more self-indulgent, less manly in his sins. Theophrastus is right. The philosophy is sound. To say that the sin committed out of pleasure deserves a harsher rebuke than the one committed out of pain. The angry man is more like a victim of the wrongdoing, provoked by pain to anger. The other man rushes into the wrongdoing on his own, moved to action by desire. It's facts. It's facts. 10 out of 10 facts. Simon Cowell. 11. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. If God exists, then to abandon human beings is not frightening. The God would never subject you to any harm. And if they don't exist or don't care what happens to us, what would be the point of living in the world without God's or providence? But they do exist. They do care what happens to us, and everything a person needs to avoid real harm they placed within him. If there were anything harmful on the other side of death, they would have made sure that the ability to avoid it was within you. If it didn't harm your character, how can it harm your life? Nature would not have overlooked such dangers through failing to recognize them, or because it saw them but was powerless to prevent or correct them. Nor would it ever, though inability or incompetence, make such a mistake as to let good and bad things happen indiscriminately, to good and bad alike. But death and life, success and failure, pain and pleasure, wealth and poverty, all these happen to good and bad alike, and they are neither noble nor shameful, and hence neither good nor bad. You could die right now, I could die right now dead. What are you going to do about it? Nothing. Live to the best of your abilities, and he's basically saying nothing is good or bad, blah blah blah. That's, nah, he ain't saying that. He ain't saying blah blah blah. Nothing is good or bad. It's all perspective. Maybe I said that. He didn't. Good and bad things happen to poor, rich, wealthy, unwealthy, rich, sick, everything. Good and bad. 12. The speed with which all them vanish. The objects in the world and the memory of them in time. And the real nature of the things our senses experience, especially those that entice us with pleasure or frighten us with pain or are loudly trumpeted by pride. To understand those things, how stupid, contemptible, grimy, undecaying, and dead are they. That's what our intellectual powers are for. And to understand what those people really amount to, those opinions and voices constitute fame, and what dying is, and that if you look at it in the abstract and break down your imagery, ideas of it by logical analysis, you realize that there is nothing but a process of nature which your children can be afraid of. And not only a process of nature, but not only a process of nature, but a necessary one. And how man grasps God, with what part of himself he does so, and how that part is conditioned when he does. People are dying, gone, vanished. Next time, you can't respawn. Back to the lobby. There ain't no lobby, or is there? Who knows? It's a process of nature. Everyone's dying. Oh, I'm dead, you're dead, everyone's dead. 13. Nothing is more pathetic than people who run around in circles, delving into things that lie beneath, and conducting investigations into the souls of people around them, never realizing that all you have to do is to be attentive to the powers inside you and worship it sincerely. To worship it is to keep it from being muddied with turmoil and becoming aimless and dissatisfied with nature, divine and human. What is divine deserves our respect because it is good. What is human deserves our affection because it is like us, and our pity too. Sometimes for its inability to tell good from bad, as terrible a blindness as the kind that I can't tell white from black. To get a better understanding of yourself, you can't get it from other people, but you have to get it from yourself. 14. Even if you're going to live 3,000 more years or 10 times that, remember, you cannot lose another life than the one you're living now, or live another one than the one you're losing. The longest amounts to same as the shortest. The present is the same for everyone. Its loss is the same for everyone, and it should be clear that the brief instant is all that is lost, for you can't lose either the past or future. How can you lose what you don't have? Remember two things. That everything has always been the same and keeps recursing, and it makes no difference whether you see the same thing recur in 100 years or 200 or an infinite period. 2. That the longest lived and those who will die the soonest lose the same thing. The present is all they can give up, since that is all you have. And what you do not have, you cannot lose. Be grateful for the present. Stop worrying about the past. One time I stumbled when I talked to this lady and she spazzed out and slapped me. Stop thinking about that. Stop. And don't overthink about the future. Stay in the present. Stay focused. Stay present. Like Master Uguay said. What did Master Uguay say? Play that clip. Play it.
Yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift. That is why it is called the present.
15. Everything is just an impression. Minimus the cynic. And the response is obvious enough, but the point is a useful one. If you take it for what it is worth. Judge a book by a cover? You know that phrase, don't judge a book by a cover? That's only for a small percentage of people. Everyone's now saying it. Don't judge a book by a cover. Shut up! I judge books by the cover all the time. If you don't judge a book by a cover, okay, for example, you see a knife, and then someone says, don't judge a book by its cover. That's a knife! You don't change the fact that's a knife. It's still a knife. It ain't gonna change. Stupid. Who made that? It's obvious in some cases, don't judge a book by a cover. But if a man is holding a knife, you're obviously gonna think, oh, it's a chef. You ain't gonna think, maybe. Shut up. That was a bad example. You understand. Judge a book by a cover. In most cases. 16. The human soul degrades itself. Above all, when it does, it is best to become an abyss, a kind of detached growth on the world. To be disgruntled at anything that happens is a kind of secession from nature, which comprises the nature of all things. 2. When it turns its back on another person, or sets out to do it harm, as the soul of the angry do. 3. When it is overpowered by pleasure or pain. 4. When it allows its action and impulse to be without a purpose, to be random and disconnected. Even the smallest things ought to be directed towards a goal, but the goal of rational being is to follow the rule and law of the most ancient of communities and states. Damn, this some soul stuff. You ain't authentic, that's degrading the soul. Damn, when you're trying to be fake with someone, when you're trying to act cool and stuff. I've done this in the past. I remember in year 7 I was like, I'm so cool. I looked autistic. And it degrades the soul when you ain't pursuing a goal, when you don't have a purpose, I guess. Human life, duration, momentary, nature, changeable, perception, dim, condition of body, decaying, soul, spinning around, fortune, unpredictable, lasting fame, uncertain. Sum up, the body and its parts are a river, the soul a dream and a mist. Life is a warfare and a journey far from home. Lasting reputation is oblivion. Then what can guide us? Only philosophy, which means making sure that the power within stays safe and free from assault, superior to pleasure and pain, doing nothing randomly or dishonestly, with imposture, not dependent on anyone else's doing something or not doing it, and making sure it accepts what happens and what it is dealt as coming from the same place it came from. And above all, that it accepts death in a cheerful spirit, as nothing but a dissolution of the elements from which each living thing is composed. If it doesn't hurt the individual elements to change continuously into one another, why are people afraid of all them changing and separating? It is a natural thing, and nothing natural is evil. Don't be scared of change. Book 2 complete! Now suck my feet! You look like Lee! Book 3, Incarnatum. Not just that every day more of our life is used up and less of it is left, but this too. If we live longer, we can be sure our mind will still be up to the understanding of the world, to the contemplation that aims at divine and human knowledge. To the contemplation that aims at divine and human knowledge. If our mind starts to wander, we still go on breathing, go on eating, imagining things, feeling urges, and so on. But getting the most of ourselves, calculating where our duties lies, analyzing what we hear and see, deciding whether it's time to call it quits, all the things you need a healthy mind for, those are gone. So we need to hurry. Not just because we move daily closer to death, but also because our understanding, our grasp of the world may be gone before we get there. Stop wasting time. Just move. Just get to your goal. 2. We should remember that even nature's inadvertence has its own charm, its own attractiveness. The way loaves of bread split open on the top of its oven. The ridges are just byproducts of the baking, and yet pleasing somehow. They rouse our appetite without our knowing why, or how ripe figs begin to burst. And olives on the point of falling, the shadow of decay gives them a particular beauty. Stalks and other things, if you look at them in isolation, there's nothing beautiful about them, and yet supplementing nature they enrich it and draw us in. And anyone with a feeling of nature, a deeper sensitivity, will find it all gives pleasure, even what seems inadvertent. He'll find the jaws of a live animal as beautiful as a painted ones or sculptures. He will look calmly at the distinct beauty of an old age in men, women, and all the loveliness of children. And other things like that will call out to him constantly. Things unnoticed by others. Things seen only by those at home with nature and its work. Everything in nature, everything around us is very detailed. You know how you watch videos on, GTA, top 5 hidden details? It's like that, but in real life they got unlimited hidden details, which you ain't seeing. But when you see it in a GTA video, you're like, damn, that's beautiful. But when you see it in real life, maybe you don't have the vision for it. Maybe you don't have the eyes for it. But if you start realizing, damn, this desk, crazy detail. I don't appreciate it as much. Well, I don't appreciate it every day how much detail it got. Appreciate the little things. Hypocrites cured many illnesses, and then fell ill and died. The Chaldeans predicted the depths of many others. In due course their own hour arrived. Alexander, Pompey, Caesar, who utterly destroyed so many cities, cut down so many thousand foot and horse in battle. They too departed this life. Heraclitus often told us the world would end in fire, but it was moisture that carried him off. He died smeared with cow shit. Everyone dies? I'm pretty sure that's the meaning of this passage. Don't waste the rest of your time here worrying about other people, unless it affects the common good. It will keep you from doing anything useful. You'll be too preoccupied with what so and so are doing and why, what they're saying, what they're thinking, and what they're up to, and all the things that throw you off and keep you from focusing on your own mind. You need to avoid certain things in your train of thought. Everything random, everything's irrelevant, and suddenly everything self-important or malicious. You need to get used to winnowing your thoughts. So if that someone says, "What are you thinking about?" you can respond at once and truthfully that you are thinking this or thinking that. And it would be obvious at once from your answer that your thoughts were straightforward and considerate ones. The thoughts of an unselfish person, one unconcerned with pleasure, with the sensual indulgence, generally with squabbling and slander and envy, or anything else you'd be ashamed to be caught thinking. Someone like that, someone who refuses to put off joining the elect, is a kind of priest, a servant of the gods, in touch with what is within him and what keeps a person undefiled by pleasures, invulnerable to any pain, untouched by arrogance, unaffected by meanness, an athlete in the greatest of all contests, the struggle not to be overwhelmed by anything that happens, with what leaves us dyed indelibly by justice, welcoming wholeheartedly whatever comes, whatever we're assigned, not worrying too often or with any selfish motive about what other people say or do or think. He does only what is to do and considers constantly what the world has in store for him, doing his best and trusting that all is for the best. For we carry our fate with us, and it carries us. He keeps in mind that all rational things are related, and that to care for all human beings is part of being human, which doesn't mean we have to share their opinions. We should listen to those whose lives conform to nature, and the others he bears in mind and sorts of people they are, both at home and abroad, night as well as day, and who they spend their time with, and he cares nothing for their praise. Men who can't even meet their own standards. Stop caring about what other people think so much. Stop wanting their praise. Hey, it is like evolutionary to care what other people think. It's not natural. I mean, it's not unnatural. It is natural to think what other people think, because back in the caveman days, people used to gangbang. Well, that's not the word. People used to collaborate together in tribes, and if you upset the other people in the tribe, they would most likely kick you out, and you would be out there alone, and most likely you would get jumped, and you weren't trying to get jumped, so you cared what other people think. That's why. But it is good to have people around you. It's not, don't push people away. Have good people around you, but don't let other people decide what you think. That's what I learned from that bit. How to act. Never under compulsion, out of selfishness, without forethought, without misgivings. Don't gussy up your thoughts. No surplus words on unnecessary actions. Let the spirit in you represent a man, an adult, a citizen, a Roman, a ruler, taking up his post like a soldier and patiently awaiting his recall from life, needing no oath, no witness, cheerfulness, without requiring other people's help or sincerity supplied by others, to stand up straight, not straightened. Damn, this book was really just to himself. He ain't telling people, he's just telling himself how to act. He basically straight up says it. 6. If at some point in your life you should come across anything better than justice, honesty, self-control, courage, then a mind satisfied that it has succeeded in enabling you to act rationally and satisfied to accept what's beyond its control. If you find anything better than that, embrace it without reservations. It must be an extraordinary thing indeed, and enjoy it to the full. But if nothing presents itself that is superior to the spirit that lives within, the one that has subordinated individuals' desire itself, that discriminates among impressions, that has broken free of the physical temptations, as Socrates used to say, and subordinated itself to the gods and looks out for human beings' welfare, if you find that there is nothing more important or valuable than that, then don't make room for anything but it. For anything that might lead you astray, tempt you off the road, and leave you unable to devote yourself completely to achieving the goodness that is uniquely yours. It would be wrong for anything to stand between you and attaining goodness. As a rational being and a citizen, anything at all, the applause of the crowd, high office, wealth, or self-indulgence, all of them might seem to be compatible with it for a while, but suddenly they control us and sweep us away. So make your choice straightforwardly, once and for all, and stick to it. Choose what is best. Best is what benefits me. As a rational being, then follow through. Or, just as an animal, just say so and stand your ground without making a show of it. Just make sure you've done your homework first. I just got from it. Find a goal, think about it, and follow it without changing route. And the first half, if you find something better than justice, follow it. Justice! Never regard something as doing you good if it makes you betray a trust or lose your sense of shame, or makes you show hatred, suspicion, ill will, or hypocrisy, or a desire for things best done behind closed doors. If you can privilege your own mind, your guiding spirit, and your reverence for its powers, that should keep you clear of dramatics, of wailing and gnashing of teeth. You won't need solitude, or a cast of thousands either. Above all, you'll be free of fear and desire, and how long your body will contain the soul that inhabits it will cause you not a moment's worry. If it's time for you to go, leave willingly, as you would to accomplish anything that can be done with grace and honor, and concentrate on this your whole life long, for your mind is to be in the right state, the state a rational, civic mind should be in. Never do something that betrays yourself. That's what I learned from that bit. Never do something that would betray yourself. The mind of one set straight and purified, no pus, no dirt, no scabs, and not a life cut short by death. Like an actor who stops before the play is done, the plot wound up. Neither servility nor arrogance, neither cringing nor disdain, neither excuses nor evasion. Your ability to control your thoughts, treat it with respect, is all that protects your mind from false perceptions, false to your nature, and that all the rational beings. That's what makes thoughtfulness possible, and affection for other people, and submission to the divine. I don't know what this means, 9. I'll be honest, I don't know. Respect my thoughts. 10. Forget everything else. Keep hold of this alone and remember it. Each of us lives only now, this brief instant. The rest has been lived already, or it is impossible to see. The span we live is small, small as the corner of the earth in which we live in it, small as even the greatest renown passed, small as the even greatest renown, passed from mouth to mouth by short-lived stick figures, ignorant alike of themselves and those long dead. We only live in the present. Even the past greats, they dead, they gone. They're only known word by word, now camera by camera, video. They're immortal in a sense right now. This guy's immortal, Marcus Aurelius, in a sense. His ideas are written down. His brain is basically on this page. But he's still dead. He won't know. He dead. He gone. 11. To the standbys above, add this one. Always to define whatever it is we perceive, to trace its outlines, so we can see what it really is, its substance, stripped bare, as a whole unmodified, and to call it by its name, the thing itself, and its components, to which it will eventually return. Nothing is so conducive to the spiritual growth as this capacity for logical and accurate analysis, for everything that happens to us, to look at it in such a way to understand what need it fulfills, and what kind of world, and its value that the world as the whole and man in particular. As a citizen of that higher city, of which all the other cities are mere households, what is it? The thing that now forces itself on my notice. What is it made up of? How long was it designed to last? And what qualities do I need to bring to bear it? Tranquility, courage, honesty, trustworthiness, straightforwardness, independence, or what? So, in each case, you need to say, this is due to God, or this is due to the interweaving of the interweavings of fate, to coincidence or chance, or this is due to human being, some of the same race, some and the same birth, the same society, but who doesn't know what nature requires of him? But I do. And so I'll treat them as law that binds us, the law of nature requires, with kindness, with justice, and in inconsequential things. I'll do my best to treat them as they deserve. It is what it is. Treat everyone equally, with respect and justice. If you do the job in a principled way, with diligence, energy, patience, if you keep yourself free of distractions and keep the spirit inside you undamaged, as you might have to give it back at any moment. If you can embrace this without fear or expectations, can find fulfillment in what you're doing now, as nature intended, and in superhuman truthfulness, every word, every utterness, then your life will be happy. No one can prevent that. Do your job properly, and then you will be happy. I don't understand many of the things he's saying, I'll be real. I'll be 100% honest. I don't. But I kind of understand it. 13. Doctors keep their scalpels and other instruments handy for emergencies. Keep your philosophy ready too, to understand heaven and earth. In everything you do, even the smallest thing, remember the chain that links them. Nothing earthly succeeds by ignoring heaven. Nothing heavenly by ignoring the earth. Everything is connected. Always be prepared with philosophy. Damn. I'm saying damn too much. Shut up. Stupid. Stop drifting. You're not going to reread your brief comments, your deeds of the ancient Greeks and Romans. The commonplace books you saved for your old age. Sprint for their finish. Write off their hopes. Write off your hopes, and if your well-being matters to you, be your own savior while you can. Don't keep around books to reread because you ain't gonna read it, or are you? Who knows? He's saying throw my book away. They don't see how much is included in stealing, sowing, buying, resting, seeing to a business. Not with their eyes, but with a kind of sight. You don't realize something until you've experienced it, I guess. You don't fully understand it. 16. Body, soul, mind. Sensations, the body. Desire, the soul. Reasoning, the mind. To experience sensations, even grazing beasts do that. To let your desires control you, even wild animals do that. And rutting humans and tyrants, from Plato to Nero. To make your mind your guide to see what seems best. Even people who deny the gods do that. Even people who betray their country. Even people who do this and that behind closed doors. So, if all the rest is common coin, then what is unique to be the good man? To welcome with affection what is sent by fate. Not to stain or disturb the spirit within him, and mess of false beliefs. Instead, to preserve it faithfully, by calmly obeying God, saying nothing untrue, doing nothing unjust, and if the others doesn't acknowledge it, this life lived with simplicity, humanity, cheerfulness, he doesn't resent them for it. It isn't deterred from the following the road where it leads, to the end of the life, and an end to be approached in purity, in sincerity, and in acceptance, in peaceful unity with what is meant to be. So he's saying to be a man, you just gotta accept things for what it is. And the worst of people and the best of people make their mind guide to what seems best. To be a good man, accept what happens. It is what it is. There is no title, just book 4. You see? Our inward power, when it obeys nature, reacts to events by accommodating itself to what it faces, to what is possible. It needs no specific material. It pursues its own aims as circumstances allows. It turns obstacles into fuel as a fire overwhelms what would have quenched the lamp. What's thrown on top of the conflagration is absorbed, consumed by it, and makes it burn still higher. That challenges make you bigger, makes you stronger. It's like building muscle. So when you challenge your muscle, you're like okay, this is basic. Okay, when you're challenging your muscles, you're putting it under pressure and you're teaching it to handle that pressure. You adapt to that scenario. That's what he's saying. You can adapt to every scenario, everything. You can adapt to everything if you put the time into it and work at it. Simple. That's what he's saying. He ain't slying, he ain't crying, he ain't dying. He's already that's disrespectful. But anyway, you can adapt to any scenario if you put in work, and you have the inward power to do that. 2. No random actions. None not based on No random actions, none not based on underlying principles. Well, clearly he means nothing is random. Someone gets aggressive at you. Maybe there's an underlying nature where if they don't get aggressive at you, they feel like a bitch. So it's understandable, but they're still a bitch. 3. People try to get away from it all. To the country, to the beach, to the mountains. You always wish that you could too, which is idiotic. You can get away from it, which is idiotic. You can get away from it anytime you like by going within. Nowhere you can go is more peaceful, more free of interruptions than your own soul, especially if you have other things to rely on. An instant's recollection, and there it is, complete tranquility. An instant's recollection, and there it is, complete tranquility. And by tranquility, I mean a kind of harmony. So keep getting away from it all, like that. Renew yourself, but keep it brief and basic. A quick visit should be enough to ward off all so and send you back ready to face what awaits you. What's there to complain about? People's misbehavior? But take into consideration that rational beings exist for one another, that doing what's right sometimes requires patience, that no one does the wrong thing deliberately, and the number of people who have feuded and envied and hated and fought and died and have been buried. And keep your mouth shut. Yeah, shut your mouth! Or are you complaining about the things the world assigns you? But consider the 2 options. Providence of atoms, and all the arguments for seeking the world as a city. Or is it your body? Keep in mind that when the mind detaches itself and realizes its own nature, it is no longer has anything to do with ordinary life. The rough and the smooth, either one. And remember all you have been taught and accepted about pain and pleasure. Or is it the reputation that's bothering you? But look on how soon we're all forgotten. The abyss of endless time that swallows all. The emptiness of all those applauding hands. The people who praise us. How capricious they are. How arbitrary. And the tiny region in which it all takes place. The whole earth a point in space, and most of it uninhabited. How many people there will be to admire you, and who are they? So, keep this refuge in mind, the back roads of yourself. Above all, no stain, no stress. Be straightforward. Look at things like a man, like a human being, like a citizen, like a mortal. And among things you turn to, these 2. 1. That things have no hold on the soul. They stand there, unmoving, outside it. Disturbance comes only from within, from your own perception. 2. That everything you see will soon alter and cease to exist. Think of how many changes you've already seen. Quote, the world is nothing but change. Our life is only perception. Quote. Damn! He's spitting some bars. So, the big points I took away from that: don't go on holiday, just go in your soul. Saves money, and it's apparently better than you. To be fair, he's actually proper correct in most cases, because most people, they go on holiday to distract themselves. Ooh, it's tough, it's tough, it's tough. Yes, it could be tough. But going within, it's always there. And that's where the real problem is, right? Second of all, it's about how people adored him. He had like crazy clout. Clout! How did that? There's this one black lady on Fortnite. Well, she's not on Fortnite. My friend showed me. She was like clout, clout, clout. She had fame. I don't know. I wouldn't call it fame, but she had a little fame. And basically, this is a Roman emperor. He had the biggest fame, and he was saying all those applauding hands, they all disappear, and they are all forgotten, every single one. So what is the point in thinking you're sicker than someone? But what is the point in not thinking you're sicker than someone? Everybody wants to believe that they're sicker than the other person. And that is just human nature, in my opinion. I'm sicker than... Or am I? Or am I just being spastic? I don't know. I'm just questioning. But he's basically saying fame disappears and there's no reason to believe you're better than the other person, because all those hands disappears, time ends all, you are all gone, everyone's about to die. But hey, be joyful while you're here. If thought is something we share, then so is reason. What makes us reasoning beings? If so, then the reason that tells us what to do and what not to do is also shared. And if so, we share a common law, and thus are fellow citizens, and fellow citizens of something. And in that case, our state must be the world. What other entity could all of humanity belong to? And from it, from this state that we share, come thought and reason and law. What else could they come from? The earth that composes me derives from earth, the water from some other element, the air from its own source, the heat and fire from theirs. Since nothing comes from nothing, or returns to it, so thought might derive from somewhere else as well. He's saying basically, everyone in the world they all come from the same thing. Everyone in the world comes from the same thing. I guess everyone is equal in a sense. We all breathe air and stuff, but some people rich, some people poor, some people got no money. Some people got too much money. 5. Death. Something like birth, a natural mystery. Elements that split and recombine. Not an offense to reason or our nature. Death is natural, it happens, it's just like birth. Die, live. Die, live. He was probably saying this to himself one day when he realized, damn, I gotta die. Well, he's already died now, but I wonder what he thought. Well, he probably wrote it down. Yeah, so he said, this is what he thought. 6. That sort of person is bound to do that. You might as well resent a fig tree for screening juice. Anyway, before very long, you have both be dead. Dead and soon forgotten. Don't get angry at the other man, because that's his nature. Damn. That's just how it is. It is what it is. And at the end of the day, you dead, me dead, tu casa es mi casa es tu casa. Hola! 7. Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been. Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been. Well, he is right in a certain sense, but physically he's wrong. Choose not to be harmed. I'm going to punch you. You choosing not to be harmed doesn't change the fact my fist is in your face. Secondly, don't feel harmed, you haven't been. Oh, that's actually fact. Because after I hit you, you could just say, ain't nothing. So you haven't been harmed. But that would imply my punches are weak. So that would make me be more angry, and I would be like, nah, my punches ain't weak. And I would hit you. Nah, I wouldn't hit you. Look at you. Look at you. You're a monkey. Elephants. I gotta put elephants above monkeys. I can't lie. I really do like monkeys. But elephants, they go above. They've always been above. Elephant. I don't know why. I just switched up. I always like monkeys. But now, elephants. Damn, elephants above monkeys. I can't lie. That is the way it is. It's just the way it is. 8. It can ruin your life only if it ruins your character. Otherwise, it cannot harm you, inside or out. So most likely, he got called a bitch in the Roman Empire, and he didn't like it. So he didn't allow it to get to his character, his inner character of himself. So it didn't really, in a sense, harm him. But he did, most likely, he did get harmed once, and he learned from it. Or I might be wrong, I don't know. I'm spazzing. 9. It was for the best, so nature had no choice but to do it. Hey, that's facts. It is what it is. It is what it is. 10. That every event is the right one. Look closely and you'll see. Not just the right one overall, but right. As if someone had weighed it out with scales. Keep looking closely like that, and embody it in your actions. Goodness, what defines a good person. Keep it in everything you do. There are no accidents, like Mr. Oogway says. There are no accidents. When he picked Kung Fu Panda, when he picked Po to be the Kung Fu Panda, he obviously knew. He was most likely pointing to Tigress, but it is the action happened, and it happened. It is what it is. He picked the panda. He saw the big fat panda, and he picked it. Why? Because his finger was pointing. No action is a coincidence. That every event is the right one. That's what he was saying. So there are no coincidences. Or are there? You choose. Pick. Yes or no. Go on. 11. Not what your enemy sees and hopes that you will, but what really... 11. Not what your enemy sees and hopes that you will, but what's really there. Your enemy needs to see some reality. Stupid enemy. 12. 2 kinds of readiness are constantly needed. 1. To do only what the logos of authority and law directs, with the good of human beings in mind. 2. To reconsider your position when someone can set you straight or convert you to his. But your conversation should always rest on conviction that is right or benefit others. Nothing else. Not because it is more appealing or more popular. Saying follow the law. But is all law correct? Who decides the law? Who is this lawyer? Who is you? Take action for the best of humans. What about the other people? What about the elephants of the world? What about the monkeys? Forget about everyone else. What about the elephants and monkeys? Damn. Yo, you reckon elephants and monkeys could gangbang? Or is that weird? Nah, this monkey's too small. King Kong! That could be how King Kong becomes real. Genetic splicing! Genetic splicing! 13. You have a mind? You have a mind? Yes? Well, why not use it? Isn't that all you want? For you to do its job? Damn, use your brain, stupid. Stop denying your brain usage. Stop distracting yourself and becoming unconscious. Every day, wake up your brain. Just become conscious. because most of the time I'm becoming unconscious. Even today, I was scrolling. I was unconsciously scrolling. And what did I do? I woke myself up. Boom! Instantly, I realized, what am I doing? This is stupid. I'm getting AIDS. I'm wasting time. No, 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 no. Then I woke myself up. Boom! I'm here reading. 14. You have functioned as a part of something. You will vanish into what it produces you, or be restored rather, to the logos from which all things spring, by being changed. Everything's changing. I see no change. What am I to change? Ding ding ding, ding 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 ding. I see no change. Okay, so basically things are changing all the time, and you will die and you will be changed. Boom. You were first nothing, now you were first sperm. Then you became a little person, and then you became a big person, and then you became a fat person, and then you became a small little person, and then you died. It's all on you. You know what's crazy? Back in the day, fat people didn't exist. 14. You have functioned as a oh no, I've read that one. 15. Many lumps of incest on the same altar. One crumbles now, one later. But it makes no difference. You take a risk now, you take a risk later. It does make a difference, I think. Well, it still doesn't make a difference. It's just your perception of it. Now they see you as a beast, a monkey. But in a week, they'll think you're a god. If you rediscover your beliefs and honor the logos, they might look at you like a beast or a monkey. You might be a monkey. You might be a beast. That's nah. You ain't no monkey, no beast. You just a human. Otherwise, you wouldn't understand what I'm saying. Unless monkeys and beasts understand English. Hey, anyway, if you out there, monkey, shout out. I don't really understand what you're saying. 17. Not to live as if you had endless years ahead of you. Death overshadows you. While you're alive and able, be good. You ain't living forever. Neither am I. Neither is everybody. All of you. Hey, but it's alright. It's alright. It is what it is. It's just the way it is. Just the way it is. So basically, just be good. Be kind. Don't touch random people. Hey, that's all I'm saying. But that's other things you could probably do. Smile at people. Make friends. Collab. That's some good things to do. Be good. Don't just sit in your room. I've done that in the past. That ain't good. That's just lazy. 18. The tranquility that comes when you stop caring what they say, or think, or do. Only what you do. Is this fair? Is this the right thing to do? Yes or no? Not to be distracted by their darkness. To run straight for the finish line, unswerving. Don't care about people's opinions. It will distract you to the finish line. It will make you stupid, most likely. But don't care about people's opinions. But you should, in a certain aspect. Don't think, oh, I don't care what anybody thinks. That's stupid. You should care what people think in certain aspects. Otherwise, okay, here's one example of not caring what people think. There's one person, he don't care what anybody thinks. So, he just runs around naked on the streets. Cool, he is free. He is free to do what he wants. But he's a weirdo. He's a straight weirdo. But he is free. I guess that is freedom. That is freedom. Not caring what anyone thinks. But would you have any friends at that point? Care what your friends would think. But don't care too much. If they're bad friends or something. 19. People who are excited by posthumous fame forget that the people who remember them will soon die too, and those after them in turn, until their memory passed from one another like a candle flame, gutters and goes out. But suppose that those who remembered you were immortal, and your memory was undying. What good it be to you? And I don't just mean when you're dead, but in your own lifetime. What use is praise except to make your lifestyle a little more comfortable? You're out of step, neglecting the gifts of nature to hand on someone's words in the future. Don't care about fame. Everyone dies. Fame is not everlasting. 20. Beautiful things of any kind are beautiful in themselves and sufficient to themselves. Praise is extraneous. The object of praise remains what it was, no better, no worse. This applies, I think, to even the beautiful things in ordinary life. Physical objects, artworks. Does anything genuinely beautiful need supplementing? No, no more than justice does, or truth, or kindness, or humility. Are any of those improved by being praised, or damaged by contempt? Is an emerald suddenly flawed if no one admires it, or gold, or ivory, or purple? Lyres, knives, flowers, bushes, leers. Beautiful things don't need praise. It's kind of conflicting because in the other book, How to Win Friends, it says compliment things. Compliment people, compliment stuff. I guess that's for people who don't get much compliment. But still, complimenting isn't bad. Beautiful things probably don't need it. But it's not nothing bad. So, it is what it is. 21. If our soul survives, how does the air find room for them? All of them. If our soul survives, how does the air find room? 21. If our soul survives, how does the air find room for them? All of them, since the beginning of time. How does the air have room for souls? Who knows? How does the earth find room for all the bodies buried in it since the beginning of time? They linger for whatever length of time and then, through change and decomposition, make room for others. So too with the souls that inhabit the air. They linger a little and then they are changed, diffused and kindled into fire, absorbed into the logos from which all things spring, and so make room for new arrivals. One possible answer, but we shouldn't think of only the mass of buried bodies. There are ones consumed on a daily basis by us and other animals. How many are swallowed up like that, entombed in the bodies of those nourished by them, and yet there is room for them all, converted into flesh and blood, transformed into air and fire. How is the truth of this determined? Through analysis, material, and cause. He's just questioning what the soul, where the soul's going, how many things, where the soul's. Why is the capacity not full? That's what he's saying. Why is the capacity not full? 22. Not to be driven this way or that, but always to behave with justice and see things as they are. Don't be swayed by this and that. See things clearly. Don't be blind. Don't be blind. 23. To the world. Your harmony is mine. Whatever time you choose is right time. Not late, not early. To nature. What the turn of your seasons brings me falls like ripe fruit. All things are born from you, exit in you, return to you. The poet says, dear city of Seracops, can't you bring yourself to say of Zeus, it is what it is. It's not too late, it's not too soon. Anything can happen. Boom, boom, boom. 24. If you seek tranquility, do less. Or more accurately, do what is essential. What the logos of social being requires, and in requires way, which brings a double satisfaction. Do less, better. Because most of what we say and do is not essential. If you can eliminate it, you have more time, more tranquility. Ask yourself at every moment, is this necessary? But we need to eliminate unnecessary assumptions as well, to eliminate the unnecessary actions that follow. Damn! I'm saying damn too much. That is unnecessary. It is not essential. Okay, the thing I did this morning which was not essential was scroll on my phone. It was not essential. It was unnecessary. I could have just straight went into reading. I spazzed out on that one. No! Alright, it's fine. It is what it is. Next time I know, I'll stop. I'll stop scrolling. I understand. 25. And then you might see what a life of a good man is like. Someone content with what nature assigns him, and satisfied with being just and kind himself. Accept yourself? The way nature assigned yourself? Maybe nature gave you an extra limb to punch people or something. and you've accepted it, so you just punch people double hard with two hands. That's a nature. 26. You seen that? Now look at this. Don't be disturbed. Uncomplicate yourself. Someone has done wrong to himself. Someone happens to be you. Something happens to you. Good. It was meant for you by the nature, woven into the patterns from the beginning. Life is short. That's all there is to say. Get what you can from the present. Thoughtfully, justly, unrestrained moderation. So if something bad happens to you, it was meant to be. There was nothing you could do. It is what it is, and that's the way nature is. Nature, who knows? Nature works in mysterious ways. Some would say that they shall play. Hey, hellalabalaske. Yeah, that's all I have to say. 27. An ordered world or a mishmash, but still an order. Can there be order within you and not in everything else? In things so different, so dispersed, so intertwined? Everything has order, or it doesn't? Or is it all a mishmash, or it isn't? I don't know. I ain't got the answers. Nobody got the answers. A lot of juxtapositions. 28. Character. Dark, womanish, obstinate. Wolf, sheep, child, fool, cheat, buffoon, salesman, tyrant. I'm a tyrant, but I ain't no tyrant. Maybe he was talking about how his character is like this. Dark. He was an emo back in the day. Womanish. He was moving like a woman. Obstinate. Yeah, I don't understand that word. But hey, maybe he was just describing his character. I don't know what this means. I need to get smarter for this one. I'll be real. 29. Alien. One who doesn't know what the world contains or how it operates. Fugitive. One who evades his obligations to others. Blind. One who keeps his eyes off the mind shut tight. Poor. Requires others, not having the necessities of life in one's own possession. Rebel. One who is rebellious. One who withdraws from the logos of nature because he resents its workings. It precedes you, now it precedes this. Systematic. One who separates his whole soul from others with the logos. They should be one. I guess these are the character types you can choose from. It's like a game, so you can choose your character type, and he was just stating those character types. Or he was observing people and looking at people and thinking, oh, this guy's a rebel. He was bad at the rebel science. Rebel. 30. A philosopher without clothes and one without books. I have nothing to eat, says he, as he stands there half naked, but I subsist on the logos, and with nothing to read, I subsist on it too. What are logos? I'm from my interpretation, I'm thinking it's gods or something, but logos, I don't know. He don't have nothing. He's alone on the streets. He's not wearing nothing. He's nothing wearing clothes. Ha ha ha. 31. Love the disciple you know and let it support you. Entrust everything willingly to the gods and then make your way through life. No one's master and no one's slave. Don't be no slave. And don't be a slave master. But what if... don't be a slave master. Yeah. Don't be no slave master. Entrust everything to the gods and make your way through life. Everything will happen. Try to do your own thing. Don't be no one's slave. The age of Vaspian. For example, people do the exact same things. Marrying, raising children, getting sick, dying, waging war, throwing parties, doing business, farming, flattering, boasting, distrusting, plotting, hoping others will die, complaining about their own lives, falling in love, putting away money, seeking high office and power, and that life they lead is nowhere to be found. Or the age of Trajan. The exact same things, and that life too gone. Survey the records of the other eras, and see how many others gave all that gave their all and soon died and decomposed into the elements that formed them. But most of all, run through the lists of those you know yourself, those who worked in vain, who failed to do what they should have, what they should have remained fixed on and found satisfaction in. A key point to bear in mind: the value of attentiveness varies in proportion to its object. You're better off not giving small things more time than they deserve. So, in the past, there have been people doing all the sick stuff, everything, and it just repeats constantly. Boom, 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 boom. It's just a repeating cycle. In the past era, people were doing the same thing. Just repeating cycles. It's just the same cycle over and over again, but with different characters, different players. It's like a battle royale game. You never know what's gonna happen in the next battle royale game. Maybe one person wins, maybe next person doesn't win. It's like landing on a Fortnite map. You don't know what's gonna happen until it happens. But it's most likely the same cycle. Someone will win, someone will lose. The circle will come in and the circle will come out. It is the same cycle repeating itself. So, you're better off not giving the small things more time than they deserve. Don't waste your time on the small things too much. 33. Words once in common use now sounds archaic, and the names of the famous dead as well. Camillus, Caesar, Vellesus, Dinitus, Scipio, Cato, Augustus, Hadrian, the Anatomus, and everything fades so quickly, turns into legend, and soon oblivion covers it. And those are the ones who shone, the rest unknown, unasked for. A minute after death, what is eternal fame? Emptiness. Then, what should we work for? Only this: proper understanding, unselfish action, truthful speech, a resolve to accept whatever happens as necessary and familiar, flowing like water from the same source and spring. Fame is empty. It all goes away. So we should work in the present to make the river flow. To get that flow. 34. Hand yourself over to Clotho voluntarily and let her spring you into whatever she pleases. Who the hell is Clotho? And why should I hand myself to her? Because I do not know this lady. I do not know, and I ain't gonna hand myself to Clotho. It sounds like some clothing company. I ain't gonna be no sweatshop worker. Most likely. 35. Everything transitory. The knower and the known. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Everything transitory, the knower and the known. There is someone who knows and there is someone who don't. So it transfers from one person who knows to one person who don't know. Then they become the knower, and they transfer from the knower to unless they don't. 33. Constant awareness that everything is born from change. The knowledge that there is nothing nature loves more than to alter what it exists and makes new things like it. All that exists is the seeds of what will emerge from it. You think the only seeds are the ones that make plants or children? Go deeper. Everything changes. Nature is change. If you think about it, back in the day, I used to be a monkey. Before that, I used to be some lizard. Back in the day, I used to be just one cell. So everything changes. Maybe in the future, humans get superpowers. Or maybe in the future, humans, they get rid of their legs so they can fly. 37. On the verge of dying and still weighed down, still turbulent, still convinced eternal things can harm you, still rude to others, still rude to other people, still not acknowledging the truth that wisdom is justice. Even when you're dying, you ain't acknowledging the truth. Acknowledge the truth, stupid. 38. Look into their minds at what the wise do and what they don't. Learn from the wise people. Look at what they do, look at what they don't. Do your own thing from that, after observing them and learning from them. 39. Nothing that goes on in anyone else's mind can harm you. nor can the shifts and changes in the world around you. Then where is harm to be found? In your capacity to see it. Stop doing that everyone will be Stop doing that and everything will be fine. Let the part of you that makes that judgment keep quiet. Even if the body attached to it is stabbed or burnt or sticking with pus or consumed by cancer, or to put it in another way, it needs to realize that what happens to everyone. It needs to realize that's what happens to everyone, bad and good alike, is neither good nor bad. What happens in life, lived naturally or not, is neither natural nor unnatural. Everything is natural. Everybody dead. I'm seeing red. Bed, where I'm up to the bed. Head, and I sleep on the head. Red, bed, shed, head. Nothing in other people's mind can harm you. Actually harm you internally. Well, it can. But it's all natural, so it was meant to be either way. It can harm you. But only if you believe it can harm you. 40. The world is a living being. One nature, one soul. Keep that in mind, and how everything feeds into the single experience, moves with a single motion, and how everything helps produce everything else, spun and woven together. The world is all connected. We are all in a spider web, into the Spider-Verse. It is real. So Miles Morales really did try to break the universe. So it's either good or bad. You choose, because it is all woven together. The world, nature, everything is connected with each other. It's actually facts, because water cycle round and round. Water goes up and the sea comes down. Water cycle round and round. Down. 41. A little wisp of soul carrying a corpse. What? 41. A little wisp of soul carrying a corpse. Epictetus. Oh, I understand that one. So your body is a wisp, and it's just carrying around a soul. I don't know what he means by this, but yeah. Yeah, I agree. Or do I? Why should I agree? Just because he wrote it down? I could write monkeys fly. I agree. Doesn't mean it's true. It could be true, it could not be. Who is this Epictetus? Epic Games. 41. There is nothing bad in undergoing change, or good in emerging from it. Change is neither good nor bad. It's just your perception of it. Everything is perception. For example, you're playing Fortnite. You're trying to kill everyone else, but if from their perspective, you're the enemy. But in your perspective, they're the enemy. It's all perspective. 43. Time is a river, a violent current of events, glimpsed once and already carried past us, and another follows and is gone. Time is rapid, like the rapids, so it goes fast, and another wave comes and another wave goes, and you only have a small time, so stop scrolling on TikTok, stupid. 44. Everything that happens is simple and familiar as a rose in spring, the fruit in summer, disease, death, blasphemy, conspiracy, everything that makes stupid people happy or angry. Everything is familiar and simple. Everything is simple. Stop overcomplicating stuff. It's not that deep. It's just simple. It's simple and familiar. You know more. Here's some smart stuff. If you think about it, you can create a solution for every problem. You can find a solution for every problem if you just think about it. Most people just go to Google to find a solution. I've done this. Most people, me. But if you just think about it, you will find a solution eventually by just thinking. 45. What follows coheres with what went before. Not like a random catalogue whose order is imposed upon it arbitrarily, but logically connected. And just as what exists is ordered and harmonious, what comes into being betrays an order too. Not a mere sequence, but an astonishing concordance. An astonishing concordance. Everything's connected. 46. Remember Herculotus? What earth dies, it becomes water. Air. Wait. Remember Herculotus? When earth dies, it becomes water. Water, air, fire, and back to the beginning. Those who have forgotten where the roads lead, they are at odds with what is all around them. The all-directing logos, and they find alien what they meet with every day. Our words and actions should not be like those of sleepers, for we act and speak in dreams as well, or of children copying their parents, doing and saying only what we have been told. Stop doing what you've been told. Wake up and look around. Become conscious. Because most of the time, most people ain't conscious, let's be real. They just doing what people are told. Wake up. Even when you're doing what people are told. Question it. Think, is this Spaz? Am I stupid? Maybe. And then act from that. 47. Suppose that God announced that you were going to die tomorrow or the day after. Unless you were a complete coward, you wouldn't kick up a fuss about which day it was. What difference could it make? Now recognize that the difference between years from now and tomorrow is just small. Well, if it was years from now, I could do a lot more things. But if it's tomorrow, I can do a few things, but I couldn't do everything I wanted. But why would it matter if I do everything I wanted? Because it would be fun. And I would be like, yee. 48. Don't let yourself forget how many doctors have died. After furrowing their brows over how many deathbeds. How many astrologers after pompous forecasts about others' ends. How many philosophers after endless disquisitions on death and immortality. How many warriors after inflicting thousands of casualties themselves. How many tyrants after abusing their power of life and death atrociously, as if they were themselves immortal. How many whole cities have met their end. He like Pompeii, Hallucilium, and countless others. And all the ones you know yourself, one after the other. One who's laid out one another for burial, and was buried himself, and then the man who buried him, all in the same short space of time. In short, know this: human lives are brief and trivial. Yesterday a blob of semen, tomorrow embalming fluid, ash. To pass through this brief life as nature demands, to give it up without complaint. Like an olive that ripes and falls, praising its mother, thanking the tree it grew on. Life is short. You'll just come. Don't be dumb. It is short. Damn, this guy is too deep. This guy is too deep. Marcus, listen there, Marcus. You too deep. Why you so deep? It's not that deep. Well, he does say it is that deep, but he also said, with the knowledge he became sadder, or did he become less sadder, or would it become sad less? This is confusing. 49. To be like the rock that waves keep crashing over. It stands unmoved, and the raging of the seas falls still around it. Don't move. Be like the rock that don't move. Stand with your principles, maybe. Don't lose sight of your principles. Don't move when you're challenged by other people on your principles. For example, someone tells you, you gotta start lying. This is bad. You too honest. Stand on your principles. 49a. It is unfortunate that this happened. No, it's fortunate that this happened. And I've remained unharmed by it. Not shattered by the present or frightened of the future. It could have happened to anyone, but not everyone could have remained unharmed by it. Why treat the one as misfortune rather than the other as fortune? Can you really call something a misfortune that doesn't violate human nature? Or do you think something that's not against nature's will can violate it? But you know what it is will. But you know what its will is. But you know what its will is. Does what happened keep you from acting with justice, generosity, self-control, sanity, prudence, honesty, humility, straightforwardness, and all the other qualities that allow a person's nature to fulfill itself? So remember this principle when something threatens to cause you pain. The thing itself was no misfortune at all. To endure it and to prevail is a great good fortune. It is what it is. That's what he's saying most of this book. It is what it is. Nothing happens for stupid reasons. It's all part of nature. It don't happen just because it don't like you. Nature don't like you. It's because it is what it is. Things happen. Learn from it. Be grateful that you ain't dead or something or already. And move. Keep forward. Keep moving forward. Fight. Fight. A trite but effective tactic against the fear of death. Think of the list of people who had to be pried away from life. What did they gain by dying old? In the end, they all sleep 6 feet under. Cadicanus, Fabius, Julian, Lepidus, and all the rest. They buried their contemporaries and were buried in turn. Our lifetime is so brief, and to live it out in these circumstances among these people, in this body, nothing to get excited about. Consider the abyss of time past, the infinite future. 3 days of life or 3 generations. What's the difference? Well, a lot is the difference, Mr. Marcus Aurelius. A lot. 3 days, you ain't accomplishing nothing. Or maybe you can. 3 generations, you can accomplish some stuff. I'm pretty sure, unless you're moving crazy, lazy. But there is a difference. I disagree with you, Mr. Marcus. I disagree. There is a difference. But it is short. Yeah, don't forget that. It is short. Keep reminding yourself. Life is short. When you see a small person, life is short. When you see someone smaller than them, life is still shorter. And think, how short is my life? How short is theirs? And just move. Keep moving forward. 51. Take the shortest route, the one that nature planned. To speak and act in the healthiest way. Do that and to be free of pain and stress, free of all calculations and pretension. Take the easiest route. This is actually facts, because what does a river do? It takes the easiest route to the sea. So, the easiest route to your destination is the easiest route you should take. Don't always take the hard route. Sometimes the hard route is the right route. But who am I to say? Make up your own decisions. Alright, I'm gonna stop at book 5 because this book long. It's a very long book. So, if you want to see a part 2, smash subscribe, comment, and like. I'll still do a part 2 because I'm reading this book. I'm still gonna do it even if you don't. So ha 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 ha. You don't control me. I'm free. Alright. Bye.